Oh man, do I have to be wise just because I'm old?
Welcome to the Blue Dragon Guild. You do not have to be wise just because you are old.
Oh god, welcome.
Tonight we are joined by Jake from J&J Tabletop. If you want to check their channel out, there is a link to it down below, as well as a link to some of their videos. So that'll be cool. Check it out. We got Mackenzie and Dave with us as well. Tonight we are talking about some of our favorite monsters, ones that we have either ran as a DM or ones that we've gone up against as players. So let's say, Dave, start us off.
Alrighty. What came to mind for me was the animated objects. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. I've used those.
Yes.
Like the Monster Manual has animated armor. There's a flying sword and a rug of smothering in there. But that was like the first monsters I ever used as a DM. It was like a level 1, level 2 campaign, something like that. That's what I started with. And I think they're kind of fun because for me, I was trying to incorporate the fact that it's, if you walk into a room, you see a whole bunch of like orcs or something or goblins, what's obvious what the bad guy is. But with you walk into a room and there's just a rug sitting on the floor, the characters wouldn't think about it. And it was a fun opportunity for me to do that. I've used it before. I've used it after that. But that was like really the first monsters that I ever used in a campaign. The very first time I ever DM'd.
That's cool.
That's awesome. I love that because it's like an undercover. It's a mimic. It's mimic adjacent. It's like especially for new players, you're not going to get them like super paranoid just yet. Just like mostly paranoid.
And they're easier to kill by and large than mimics. It's easier for like a level 1, level 2 party can handle them. You throw like a mimic at a level 1, they're probably going to be in trouble.
It's true.
Yeah, maybe. I guess depending on what your party is, but probably you might have a rough time.
Absolutely.
I like the animated objects. I mean, like you said, like it's camouflage, and you don't know what's going to happen.
Brings the plain sight fear.
I don't think in any of the games that we have ran in, I'm going to say 5th edition, that we've really used too many of them. I think in some of the pre-writtens there is some, but I don't know that.
Yeah. The most recent one I think we did, there's a Wergar Forge where there's a bunch of animated objects.
Yeah, I remember now.
In Yawning Portal. It's the second adventure in Yawning Portal, I believe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Mackenzie, what monsters have you looked at?
No, I picked monsters from the book because I didn't want to generically pick a monster from Icewind Dale, one of the main bad things. Because I was like, oh yeah, I'll just pick Ario or Kalstra and be like, yeah, these are great. But I did the similar thing. Like the first few campaigns I ever ran, it was this small stuff. I'm probably going to actually go, and I know it's low level too. I love will-o-wisps. I just think they're insanely interesting. It's funny because it kind of falls on the thing with Dave where it's like, these might just be hidden in a lantern that you're walking on a road, which is the way I used them. Then you guys are walking down the path and it's like somebody look behind you and all these lights are falling. You're like, whoa, that doesn't make any sense. Is it just magic? Is it some weird illusion? I just think they're super neat. I like how they're invisible. I like how they have immunities at such a low challenge level, and a lot of damage resistant. Way seems harder than what it should be for challenge rating 2, and that's why I really like those.
Oh yeah, that was one of the monsters that I put on my list preparing, so I just got real excited about that. I don't know if anybody's played Dragon of Icespire Peak. Should we do it? Are we doing spoilers? I don't want to spoil any adventures here before I speak.
I would say if you want to play Icespire Peak, maybe not listen for the next.
That's okay. All I can say is, let's just say the Will-O-Wisp has some mechanics in there that I got wrong and the consequences were pretty rough. Yoda here is in chat; he can attest to that.
Did you do? Because I did this the first time I ran them, and I don't even think anybody noticed. I read it as the will-o-wisps in their turn inside of your space, and the players take damage, not the will-o-wisp. That made them a lot worse.
No, my mistake was a little bigger. I would say it was an insta kill.
I mean,
yeah,
from one of the players.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But just like Bob Ross says, we had happy little accidents. It turned out to be a fun story.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I remember talking to you about will-o-wisps. Didn't you guys do a video about that, Jake?
We did. We started doing a creature feature series, and we
Cool.
will-o-wisps were the first video, and then I think the last video we did was on the Banshee, and I would say stay tuned there if that interests you, because we're going to do stuff called a monster mash, where we take multiple monsters and put together a fun like boss fight or encounter, adventure, whatever exactly. The idea is a little raw still, but
cool.
But if you think about some of the mechanics of the will-o-wisp and the Banshee, you put them together, and that's just dirty.
Yeah.
So it's just dirty.
I know, like we talked about it. I think it was in the comment section of that video. There's a good aligned will-o-wisp. It's in one of the Ravenloft novels. It's called like the Faux Fillet, and it's really interesting because it's like the polar opposite of what the normal will-o-wisps are. Because will-o-wisps like drain negative energy, but these are like lead you to happy energy. Like they're different, and if you've got players who are experienced, they're gonna think it's a will-o-wisp, and when you throw that out there, they're going to be real confused. So
I love confusing players.
The book that is in it's Ravenloft Dance of the Dead. Really great read. I highly recommend it.
That's awesome. Yeah, anytime you can flip a player's expectations on in their head, it's just, especially because if you've played a long time, you're like, oh, it's a troll. You got to use fire and acid or else you're in trouble. Yeah. It's like, yeah, well, the fire and acid heals this troll, so good regeneration mechanic is double. No, whatever, just do something funky.
I like it.
You know, you need cold to do this thing with the troll.
Yeah. Jake, I know you said will-o-wisps was one of yours. What was another one that you had?
Okay, so I think this is not too bad of a spoiler for the Dragon of Icespire Peak. So the White Dragon was one. I think that was one of my all-time favorite, probably actually my single favorite encounter that I ran, because I did a hybrid version. Because if anyone's familiar with dragons, you've got your wormling category, your young category, adult, and ancient. And I made a young adult category because the players, if there was only 3 of them in the game, it's the playthrough is on our channel, but they had some builds that they could pump out some serious damage, and I mean, why not make it harder on them? Because torturing players is always fun as a DM. So I pretty much just looked at the adult and the young, and I just kind of looked at whatever might be in the middle and did that. And I took their like legendary reactions or legendary actions and those kinds of things and did them almost like 4E might do it as like an encounter power. Like it doesn't regenerate every turn, but once in the encounter, it could do this special thing. And that was kind of fun to try and just put that together and see how it goes. It was actually really close fight on that one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
One of the monsters I picked was one I used here recently, and Dave can attest to this monster. It's the Glabrazu demon. I had it that in the story that there was these demons invading the dwarf kingdom, and the party was tracking something that tore a huge path through the woods. So already, like, I had the scene set to where it was like, we don't know what this is, but it caused a ton of damage. And then, you know, when they finally get to the fight with it, it's this huge hulking demon with like 4 arms and claws.
Yeah, it's a big boy.
It is.
Yeah.
It can cast fly, so it, like, whenever you attack something, you can grapple them. So I had 2 people grappled, and then he cast fly and flew up in the air and just dropped them.
Oh man, what level party was that?
I think everybody was level 6.
Okay, you
So-
should be able to handle a fall,
Yeah.
whether a mechanic or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
at that point.
They were all right in that aspect. That game, like, was actually, like, my dad tried D&D for the first time, which was really cool. And like, I tried to come up with a story that would keep everybody, like, entertained, and like, playing D&D with a new player is always fun because they have just such, like, raw ideas, and, like,
Yeah.
he really made that fight. I feel. See,
What kind of character did he play? I'm so curious.
He played an illusionist wizard for his first character.
Oh right, man after my own heart. That was I went well, they were called magic users back then,
Yeah.
but that was my first class too.
Oh man. So what
That's
kind
cool.
of monsters have you fought against that have been that really stuck out in your mind? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go, but I
real
don't
Josh
remember the
T in the
name
chat.
of it. It was one that Chris ran. I want to call them red caps, but I'm sure that's not their names. They were the little tiny, like, gnome-looking people. We had a red cap and the sickles in the
Yeah.
picture, I remember.
Yeah, that's Red Cap.
And, okay, we were higher level than what it was, but I think there were 2 of them or something, and it was just the constant, we hit it, it doesn't hit it, and then every single one of us got caught in the spell where it's just we started celebrating and dancing for no reason and loved it. And I was like, what level are these guys? Like 12, 10? He's like, I think they're a half, maybe 1. It's like, there's no way. It's like, this is
I
what they
remember-
can do.
I
Outstanding.
remember the encounter you're talking about. We were fighting red caps, and the thing you're thinking of is a Neilbolg. And
Is it?
that's,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, that's like the guy. Well, we were fighting both of them in that encounter at the same. Like, there was, I think, maybe a red cap or 2. Then there was the Neilbolg, and they're like the goblin-y guys that can make you dance if you fail a save, and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. The red caps are just sort of like a murderous fairy, more or less.
They were.
Yeah,
they-
I was actually
Yeah.
thinking about that too. Like, there's such a, it's so awful when you've got like a big hulking barbarian or something like that. That's, you know, I'm going to smash you, buddy. Then all of a sudden, nope, looks like I'm going to dance. Like, it
Yep.
just really throws stuff off.
I remember my favorite part about that whole encounter. It was like, because Chris had it that this town, they had this big festival where, like, they would put things
Yep.
out, and like they would just, like, these, like, creatures would come and take them at night. Well, we killed all the creatures, so we effectively ruined this town's, like, festival culture.
Hmm.
I forgot it was Zozu.
I mean,
Yeah.
how else do players do it, right?
I know, right?
They cause chaos wherever they go.
There
If
was
you're
that one with the Neilbolgs, but then there was another one way before that. It was the first time we ever played the Neilbolgs. That was the one with the red caps. It might have been red
Okay.
caps in the other one as well, but it wasn't the festival. I can't remember what campaign we were doing, but we've fought those a couple of times, and it's typically Chris that throws them at us.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he must like them.
Chris is a Fae lover. He loves the Fae.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. Josh and I, we're big Fae fans. Yep. Tina Fey, Fey creatures, all the stuff.
Yeah,
you're all good.
There's those dad jokes I was warned about.
Yep. Yeah. I
love
like my puns. One of my favorite encounters. It was a low level one. This is actually the very first longer term campaign that Josh played in, and we were both players in this one. And our buddy Nooch had like a Myconid story. And it was one of those things because I played a lot. So like a lot of the typical monsters, I'm like, okay, I'll ask if I can roll an intelligence check about whatever it may be, to see if I know these mechanics and try and, not metagame all the good stuff. And I hadn't heard of Myconids at that point. So I was like, yes, you surprised me. And like, it was just this cool story. We had to make some real tough choices because they were like, Josh is in chat, so if you can remember some of the details there. But there were some tough choices between like separating how they were affecting the. Yeah, there it is, Josh. All the what the effect they were having on the dwarves that they were around, and just had to make tough choices between who we wanted to help and save, and I think we lost a party member in that fight too. So it was kind of, I don't know. I know character death can be like, oh, that sucks, but sometimes it's awesome.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
We've got a whole ritual. Like when a character dies in the game, we play the Starry Ulsa medieval cover of Metallica's One.
Yes.
And slowly we all stand up and turn around while the player whose character died just has to stand there.
Yes.
It's just something fun that we just started doing it randomly.
I love this. There's the comment there.
Dwarves going mad and turning into the Last of Us style mushroom monsters. That's pretty cool.
That's so rad.
Cool.
And so I was just like, wait, what is this? I have like, to me, like, and my internal monologue is like, I have not heard of this creature. Like, what sort of homebrew sorcery have you come up with, DM? It's like, it's just in the monster manual. You could look at it once in a while if you want, Jake.
So Chris threw Myconids at us one time when we were in the Underdark, and like they weren't hostile towards us. And like we were going from Drow City to Drow City, or we were running from Dwergar into this Drow City, and the Myconids were kind of like, oh, hey guys, because Dave played a druid and just like talked to him and was like, hey, you're plant people. I like you. Let's hang out.
Yeah.
I think.
And I love that. I mean, like, I pulled them up on D&D Beyond. They're, they're lawful neutrals. So they're like, they're not evil. They're not good. They're just doing their thing. But anytime you can have a creature like that and add some kind of complex motivations or situation to it, I love making the players sweat their choices.
It's always good.
Yeah, those are some of my most fun adventures and monster fights.
Yeah. I'll be right back. Dave, tell us about your monsters.
All right. Kind of what we were mentioning a little bit before was with the Fae. Like, our group has done like hags in almost like everything.
Yeah.
Like just about every campaign we do, like a hag creeps up, whether it ends up being like the main bad guy or just sort of like a random encounter. But I think we've done just about everything with hags outside of maybe the newest book. But we went through the ones that are in like even Volo. We've been through all the ones in the Monster Manual. We've had covens. We've done a ton of stuff with hags, and there's such a great adversary, particularly for like a low level campaign. They're kind of great as like your first big bad guy that you have to deal with. The mastermind behind it was a hag. That's really they're so easy to create for. They're so easy to make bad guys. Yeah,
there's some stories and like lore matches up so much with like just old human legends, right? Like Hansel and Gretel or anything like that. It just has these stories that you could just tell that creepy witch that lives in the woods, and the effect on the area, and also like you can have it like linked to later deeper threads throughout the campaign too. That's a great one, Dave. I love that.
It was early on. I'm trying to remember all the details, but it was like, I think it was in the first campaign, somewhere in the first campaign we ran in 5th, where like, if you kind of read the lore within the book, they kind of like, they're not necessarily on good terms, but they sort of like tolerate one another. And we kind of got into a situation where essentially like one hag had offended another, and there was like this weird, everybody was kind of caught into this, I wouldn't call it a war, but it was more like, you know, she's sending her monsters, this one's sending her monsters, and like towns were getting caught in the middle. And it's just such a, like, I mean, and then there are other times where we had it where it was just like, oh, there's like a sunken ship, let's go see what's in there. Whoop, it's a sea hag. Like, yes. All right. You know, and it's just the versatility of hags and the types that there are is just, I mean, they're such a great bad guy. And if you've never used them, you should.
Hags rule.
I love intelligent monsters like that.
Yeah. Dave, I remember the hag like storyline that you came up with and like that was really, really fun. Because I think we wiped out like 4 or 5 covens that were all part of a bigger coven, if I remember right.
Yeah, I had like one. I mean, it's basically, it was like, you know, coven's 3 hags. So like I had like each hag was like the head of a sub coven, and so basically they had to go through there and to stop all this, like wipe them out. And it kind of was just a big hag massacre,
like a cleansing. Yeah.
I mean, and it was just, I mean, hags everywhere and never get killed. And they're fun too. They're fun too because, like, yeah, they've got spellcasting and stuff, but like, some of them can like do weird things like turn invisible. They can have like the night hag can like haunt people's dreams. I mean, they're just so weird and wild. So it's sort of like, you know, well, you might know it's a hag. Well, there's like 6 different kinds of hags. Which one is it? And it's like, well, you may not know offhand.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah, we ran, Josh ran. He's running our Sunday night game, Ancient Relics and Hokey Religions, and he had a hag in there, and the environment that we had adventured in was kind of crazy because there was like this larger room where she had obviously her big cauldron and all that fun stuff that was going on, but there was like at least 5 or more like pathways to go outside of there. So she would do something, turn invisible, she split into 2 and then just like ran away, and we're like, wait, what? Like, so we had to like kind of split the party to find her, and this was just like one of the most stressful fights because like my character walked into a room and like all these blights, like these plants just came to life, and I was like, there was like 7 of them, and we were like level 3 or 4 at the time, so it wasn't like overpowered, but still like that's a lot of attacks. If they all hit you, that can, you know, just nibble away at you. And I think it was the illusion hag was in there, so I swung at her once or something, and she just like and like ran away. I was like, you suck. But thank you, that was a good encounter. It was like both like, you suck, but this is amazing.
Yeah,
so many people. Oh, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I hear so many people talk about the Curse of Strahd, where the hags are at whatever. I didn't even say spoiler. Who cares? Where they're there, and it's like there's hags in it, and they're like, man, that's always so difficult, so crazy and hard. I'm like, yeah, I didn't play the first big part of Strahd, so I didn't know personally, but everybody I hear that runs, it's like, man, those hags, they just tear you up. I'm like, well, I know playing them. I don't even know what kind they are in that one, but it's big enough to make it in there and people remember it.
I don't remember offhand. I want to say there might have been night hags, but
Okay,
I could be wrong. It's been a while since we went through that.
let's do it again.
Yep, let's do it again.
But I don't think I can highlight questions, but Caitlin Ray here says, "Are there monsters that you hate to fight?"
Yes.
And yeah, I feel like that's a really good one. I know.
Yeah,
Before we went live, I was saying I've never ran a beholder fight, and the reason why I want to run one is because I don't want to fight them. So
right.
with all those crazy eye stalks and rays they can do, I mean, I think 5th edition has made a lot of these creatures a little less deadly because I think you have to randomly choose which eye stalk is doing its thing. It's like you can't just be like, I'm just going to keep shooting that disintegration ray or death ray.
This. Constantly.
Yeah, you just roll. Hey, see what you get, and I feel like that would be a ton of fun. I don't know have either of you either fought or run a beholder?
I've never been in one. I'm pretty sure Dave didn't our group run one because I thought they talked about being in some little maze-looking area.
Yeah, the very first campaign I ran in 5th, we didn't have a beholder, but there are things that look like a beholder, but they're not a beholder.
Oh yes,
it's like that subclass
spectator.
Yeah, there's the spectator. That's what we had. We had a spectator.
Mm-hmm.
There's also one called like a death tyrant. Volo has something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Volo's got. There are a couple other ones, but a true to form beholder. Man, I think we've only ran that like maybe once, maybe. Like we haven't done it. We've done spectator. We've done several spectators because they're just CR3. The beholders are 13, and I know we fought a death tyrant once, which is a 14. But yeah, beholders are tricky things. They can be because they're also intelligent too. I mean, they're no pushover. They're pretty solid.
And is it Volos that has the Build-A-Bear? I mean, Build-A-Beholder workshop. It's like
it's funny.
Yeah, I can't. It's like word vomit. It just comes out.
But it's Volos. Yeah, that's what you're thinking of.
And you can get all sorts of unique stuff going on.
One of the monsters I hated playing against, and Baron actually made a variant of it where it was larger. Dave, this was in Icewind Dale, the little added part to it where you fell down the pit. Rust monster. I don't like him at all. And he had the one where it was a king rust monster, and it had the stats that he made for it. And I actually ran some of those, and when you guys played the Halloween campaign, they're in the field, and I just like a creature that, hey, it's not that it's going to try to kill you. It's going to make sure you have no more weapons or any armor, and you're already so far away from a town that it's not going to matter.
Yeah, that's when your monk's just like, hold my beer, I got this.
What was crazy is that was one of the monsters I had. But Dave, did you see the thing that Baron put in the group today about rust monsters?
About the thing with Warforged?
Yeah, I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Somebody asked, hey, let me see if I can find the question, because I know it was in the group.
It was basically like when how a ghost can age somebody 50 years, but that doesn't affect a Warforged. But the rust monster's rusting ability basically does that to a Warforged, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like you could, I mean, depending on how just mean you wanted to be as a DM with a rust monster on a Warforged.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Was a question it was online asking, I think somebody was asking, Jeremy Crawford on Twitter. I was like, wow, didn't think of that at all.
And then what would you need, like greater restoration to undo some of the rust or something like that, or some version of it? You could have some fun there.
Just reincarnate them.
Right.
Get out of that metal body.
I don't think I've ever fought a black pudding. I saw somebody put that on there. I don't think I've seen the mini, which is cool.
I don't know if you fought it, but we've encountered like maybe once we fought a black pudding. Not very often.
I
Technically,
ate
we
black
have
pudding
all,
once.
we've all fought a black pudding. It was that gigantic mega ooze that was in the bottom of the dwarf kingdom.
Yeah, we ran away.
No,
Now the black pudding, they'll like just like the rust monster, it'll get your gear, right?
yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
You want to piss off your players, go after their loot. That's the way it is.
Eat everything they can find. The best part was that you get to the end of a dungeon of this treasure, and it's like, yeah, there's been something there, and you have them on a timer. Be like, why is there always a timer? I don't get it. And by the time they open the door, it's like, oh, there were 15 rust monsters in the treasure room. They were just eating everything. Like,
Oh my
okay.
gosh!
All right.
Wow. I'll let a light of fire under their behinds. Get in there. Especially if you let them know. It might be like one of those secrets that you want to have in there, but if you let them know, like say someone knows like, hey, there's just a lot of rust monsters in the area, and this rumor has it they got into the treasure hoard.
Yeah.
So now they're going to start taking some crazy risks to get there early. But if they do that, their resources might be low, so regular
"There's no
monsters are more
old
deadly.
death."
Yeah. But again, now you have fun choices that your players can make and risk reward, all that fun stuff.
Kind of briefly, what we mentioned about the beholders. There's a thing called a gas spore. I don't know if you guys remember this or you're familiar with it. So this was a nightmarish thing that is. I don't know if it's in other. I think it's in other editions, at least second. Anyway, so the gas spore is kind of unique. It only has an AC of 5 with 1 hit point. The unique thing about it is when it dies, it bursts. And if you fail a con save, you have 1d12 hours before you die. Only a half CR, and it's like, you better find somebody to figure it out or you're just dead.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I remember we fought those, and
Yes.
I remember. I'm pretty sure it was Orsk, your druid, rolled high enough on the nature check that you knew it wasn't a beholder and that we needed to stay real far away.
Yep. It's the you have to beat a 15 nature, otherwise you just think it's a beholder.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
It's like a landmine.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, yeah, what's the cure?
The cure for that is don't pass your save.
Well, yes. So there just is no cure unless you, I guess, have like greater
if
restoration.
you are immune to the poison condition or immune to the diseases, you're okay.
So be a paladin.
Yeah, basically be a paladin. But yeah, you take initial poison damage, but I'm trying to look at it. I think it would count as a disease, so you would have to find a way to cure the disease. The other fun thing about it is after a creature dies, it sprouts 2d4 tiny gas spores that grow to full size in 7 days.
Like it just comes out of the dead body.
Yeah, like after 7 days, like, pop, here's some more.
It's got to propagate the species somehow.
Yeah, that's true.
Dave said, "Oh, you just go and find something that cures the disease of death." So why would you cast that to begin with?
You'll be okay.
Got 1d12 hours.
Wow, that's good. Hopefully you don't get one.
Oh yeah.
Or hopefully you're not you've got somebody that can cure a disease. You're not just like a bunch of wizards and fighters.
Yeah.
Not at half CR if you're just doing it normal. Jeez. Well, you're dead, bud. See.
Yep.
Mhm.
Wow.
That's
I
what
mean,
one guy
it's a half CR. That's all.
One guy said he used a beholder twice in the same campaign. I hope it was a beholder than a zombie beholder. Just died and he brought it back. He was like, nah, I'm not done with this.
The Frankenstein beholder.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, and that's 3.5. You know it was more difficult than 3.5.
Yeah.
That was hard times.
Yeah.
I'm curious, since you've played so long there, did you ever run into a monster? It was my favorite monster in second edition, and I've never seen it since. I couldn't find my monster manual from second, but it's called an executioner's hood. And it looks like a completely mundane executioner's hood. And what would happen is it would like descend over your head and just strangle you, strangle you to death. And so, if you hit the hood, you're also hitting the player. But and it's kind of like like a trapper, which was one of those things, basically like something that comes. Well, the animated rug will do that too.
I was just thinking about that.
You hit the player. But in second edition, that was like, I always wish they'd bring that back, but I've never seen it since then. Second edition.
Yeah, I guess you have to homebrew it now, or just adapt. But I haven't played that, but I remember just looking through the books and thinking that would be like just an insane encounter. I remember having that thought too.
There's the dark mantle, I think is what it's called. It drops down from like the ceiling and does that kind of thing. Has the same kind of effect, but Executioner's Hood, I'm in.
Absolutely.
Some random things from when I was away. Mackenzie was talking about the Rust monster, the Rust King's Arena, not lair. I forgot what I named the thing. I put a link to that down in the chat. If anybody wants, a souped up Rust monster, go for it. It's pay what you want over on DM's Guild. Hit 0. I don't care. And I think that's it.
Dude, I'm looking up Executioner's Hood. There's a thing online where they switched it to 5e, like updated it. It's a CR5.
Oh, somebody's made a 5th edition version?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Someone out there will do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they will.
Awesome. Another creature I just think is so obnoxious are sturges.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, can we not? Like that's my reaction as a player. Like, can we just not do this, please?
I feel like the sturges are like the D&D equivalent of walking into a gnat cloud. Like
that just tracks.
Buzzing around like a mosquito in your ear type thing.
Yeah, I feel like they can kind of really put a drain on the campaign. Am I right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, got you again, Dave.
I'm pretty sure that in the beginning of one of the pre-written campaigns that we will not say the name of to avoid spoilers, I'm pretty sure that Dave's character died to a sturge, or almost died.
I don't know. Oh, okay, yeah. So
yeah, what was the name of it?
Yeah, I think I would have died, but it actually had in the campaign that like people would come and help. Basically, that you couldn't really die in the opening encounter. But my guy basically died in the opening encounter to the sturge. Yeah. It was pitiful.
I think Josh sums it up with just this right here.
They're
not cool.
They suck. Come on, 2 for 2.
I'm just aging.
Yep.
It's always just aging.
This is my secret to looking young, is to just make everybody else older by bad jokes. Yeah. That's the way to go.
It'll do it. Oh,
I can't really think of any monsters that I, as a player, I really hate to fight against, like right off the top of my head. I'm sure that there's some out there, but one of my favorite monsters that I got to fight, and Dave is the one who did this game, and I talked about it in the video that we did about it. It's the Gorgon. And Dave had us. We were on this like riverboat that had like this fold out arena, and they had like monsters for people to fight while they were like sailing down the river. And the Gorgon got loose, and the party had to kill it. and like I just remember Dave's description of that just made that stick in my mind, and like it's one of like my favorite monsters. So
I remember that because unless you're familiar with the Gorgon, it can petrify you, and I liked the idea of the party being in an isolation system, an isolated area of water, and then maybe you get turned to stone and just slide right off, the boat and bon voyage, and it's just like, what it also was like, what's a monster you probably never see on a boat? A giant metal bull.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. That's why, like you never saw, I forget, I think if you read the Game of Thrones books, there's a Greyjoy who would wear like plate armor on a boat. And it was just like, dude, you're nuts. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's why you don't see pirates wearing that stuff.
Yeah.
You're right. You're not quick at all.
Oh.
Caitlin asks, do your groups have any reoccurring monsters that you fight across multiple campaigns? And I know that I've had a bad guy. The party technically never fought him. He just showed up and kind of like taunted them. And he was, what was he? I don't remember what he was. He was a Cambion. He was a Cambion. That's what he was.
Oh, okay.
And they simply knew him as the Vizier. And like,
oh yeah.
Yeah,
I thought he was a hag.
No. But it was just like this winged devil looking creature just showed up and be like, "Oh, it's you guys again? Oh, I guess I better go because nothing cool's gonna happen." And he would just taunt them all along, and he would drop hints to the party to find these like mysterious artifacts, and it turns out that he wasn't a bad guy. He was actually like a lawful good Cambion.
Love that.
Because something weird happened. I was playing a lot of World of Warcraft Legion, and there's like a demon that's like blessed by the light in there. So I was like, that's a really cool idea. I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
But he was basically like leading them to find all of these like scrolls that had like some like that were like the key to opening the prison of some bigger demon. But he wasn't going to open the prison to let the demon out. He found a way to kill the demon instead of imprison it. So it was just going to be like, oh, cool. Thanks for the help, guys. Let me do this and just kill it.
That's cool. I mean, especially I feel like demons and angels and celestials and stuff, like you could easily have them recur, whether it's like a campaign and like 30 years later they show up again because, they're like immortal or whatever, or however, whatever story you want to tell. But I love that you had a nice demon.
Yeah.
I always thought it would be a fun warlock patron, like if you someone really wanted to play the fiend warlock, but didn't want to, like, I don't want it to be like this antagonistic relationship. It's like, well, maybe he just wants to escape, and he's trying to use you to help him.
That's a good idea.
Because he's like, I'm done with this, man. I hate being mean.
Mackenzie created a villain for our party. In the Yawning Portal, actually was in that Dwergar Forge area, there's a black dragon there that they kind of started to fight. Well, what ended up happening was Mackenzie threw Tasha's hideous laughter, and she just kept failing the save.
Oh, that's the best spell for that.
Yeah, and she just kept failing. The dragon just kept failing the save, so that they eventually all escaped because they were dead to rights. Like she managed to separate them. It was just a fiasco, and it wasn't going well. And he's like, "Well, I'm going to try this," and it worked. And they managed to escape. And then she's had a blood feud ever since. And so she's cropped up throughout because as a black dragon, she's very vengeful and unforgiving and stuff. And it's made kind of like a cool recurring villain that she keeps trying to mess with them because she was utterly humiliated. And that's kind of the fun too about the roles, where like. It was like, I can't remember how many, it was like 3, maybe 4 rolls, at least 2 or 3 of just failed.
It was like 4, I think.
Yeah.
That's a lot of rounds in combat to be out of position.
Because
But
It was
like,
enough
they
to go
managed
get
to-
somebody who was pulled away from her, bring him back, and be like, "All right, we gotta leave," and leave.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
I think it was she drug Chris's character down
Yes, in the
way
water.
underneath the water, and it took him like 3 rounds to get back, and it was like, okay,
And
let's
Tommy
hope.
retrieved her. Tommy got Chris. Tommy got Chris's character because, of course, he had winged boots. And then you and Mackenzie's characters just kind of like, messed with her a little bit. And then that's when Mac dropped the Tasha's Hideous Laughter, got back together, poured it out, and that was that. And now she's always going to be hunting you down until she finally kills you, I guess, or you get her.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What?
Yeah.
Josh is just making. So we had. I guess we're going to talk about Kimlets. So my wife's name is Kim, and our buddy Matt was running a game, and he had like this. Anytime she would like walk into the room and like just anything, he would have a Kimlet like spontaneously show up. And it was just one of those things. Whoever would do it would get a little small experience bonus. Like you would be able to take the Kimlet out.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
I was like, there it is.
I like it.
Yeah.
I know a spoiler for Sunday's game that you guys don't know. Jake does, but he's not aware yet. A reoccurring character will occur itself, if that's the correct terminology, in Sunday's game. So it'll be very exciting.
Oh, I already know.
Oh, very good. Well, sucks to be you, Dave.
Oh man.
I have no idea what's happening, but it's probably going to be bad for me.
You're gonna be mad.
It's more fun that way.
Perfect. Yep.
It's all right. My character wrote a story about him.
Excellent.
There you go.
Yep.
Oh man.
I think the monster who has the most kills among the party members for us. Not that we really haven't had a lot, but I think the I just forgot the name of it. It's that thing that killed your guy, Baron, Catoblepus. I think we've lost at least 2 characters to that.
Okay.
And everything else just kind of been one-offs, but I know at least 2 have died from that, and I've tried to get a third once.
The Catoblepus.
Yeah.
From
Let
Theros.
me see.
That's the Theros Catoblepus.
Okay, I'm looking it up because I don't remember that.
Mackenzie, I think you were away when we did that because I.
Probably when I was locked in that hole for a while.
Yeah.
CR5. Yeah.
I think that was
What's
your
it start with?
second 5th edition character, Baron, maybe?
I love that stench mechanic. That's great.
I think it wasn't my
It was really
second.
long.
It wasn't my second. I think it was like my third. Because because if you remember, I did Rogue and then I played Paladin for like four games, and then I switched back to my Rogue, and then this guy was a Bard, and then he died. So
Catoblepus.
yeah,
Sorry, that's
Catoblepus.
Plus, it's got a fun name.
Yeah.
Catoblepus.
Chris's character died from touching stuff. That seems to happen a lot sometimes. Just don't touch stuff.
The game with the Catoblepus, that character died, and then probably 3 sessions later, the wizard that I created walked into a sphere of annihilation because he failed an Arcana check.
Okay. Yep.
And I was like, well, all right.
Don't fail your checks. That's the lesson.
And then I made another wizard, but he was a necromancer, and at that time, mind flayers were invading the world, and my dude basically sold out Dave and Tommy's characters to this mind flayer to save his own skin. So they were gone.
That.
So
and he sucked out Tommy's brain.
Like the original party that started in that story was just like 0.
Yep.
But my favorite thing was Chris had this whole big arc based around Tommy's character. Like his albino twin brother had come and was trying to fight him, and like we did that. Like we went through all this character building stuff, and then just brain sucked out. That's it. Dunzo.
That campaign was brutal.
Yeah.
Sometimes when if any characters happen to survive that though, it's like you wear that like a badge of honor. Like, you know what? I survived that.
Yep.
I made it out. There was 12 of us, and now there's 4, but I'm one of them.
Oh man,
I love this game.
We're doing is it Tomb of Horrors? Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
And I can't wait to be the only one that makes it alive out of that.
Oh, just you wait.
Probably.
I already killed 2 of Dave's characters, his minions.
Oh yeah. And some like hirelings. They didn't make it.
That campaign is fun.
Yeah. It is.
Dig it.
But we'll talk about that another day.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's hags in it. Not really.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty well winds us down on this fun discussion of the monsters. If you are not subscribed to JNJ Tabletop, please follow the link down in the description to their channel. Check them out. Check them out on Twitter and all the other social media sites, because I'm sure they're on there.
Pretty much.
Twitter's the only one I remembered.
Yeah, we got a Twitch. We're on TikTok. Those are usually just us being kind of stupid on our intros, which you get more puns. So if you like the dad jokes and the puns, you'll get some good stuff there. But thanks for having me on, fellas. This is a lot of fun.
Thanks for coming out and joining. We'll have to do this again sometime. We'll get the real Josh T to come and join us next time.
Yeah, he'll have a few stories too.
Awesome. Well, everybody who has watched, thank you so much. Subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to J&J. And until next time, go roll some dice. Then we just wave till it ends.
I pointed at